What are the detailed meanings of the Father's name? What are the detailed meanings of the Son's name, Yahshua? And what are the detailed meanings behind the word Elohim? Check it out with me. Let's go. Shalom, my friends. Someone asked me if I would do a study using the odiot, the Aramaic Hebrew pictograph letters of the Father's name, Yahweh, the Son's name, Yahshua, and I decided to add in the descriptive title, Elohim. So first let's start with the Father's name, Yahweh, which you'll see here, and that is YHWH Yahshua. A lot of people like to say Vav instead of Wa, but the pronunciation of the V, or the letter V, came much later in time. Originally, it's the, or more ancient, is the W. We say Yahweh or Yahweh. We don't say Yahveh and Yahweh. So it's YHWH Yahshua. It's the numbers 10, 5, 6, 5, totaling 26. And when I tie my tzitzit, I use that sequence of 10 wraps with the blue, then 5 wraps, then 6 wraps, and then 5 wraps. So it's the Father's name. You'll see tzitzit hanging off my ukulele in my recent video on the Net song, titled The Children of Elohim. Anyway, the Father's name, YHWH. And you know, when you look at these and you begin to learn the pronunciation of each of these odiot letters, you will begin to see how very easy it is to read Aramaic Hebrew. And I'll point that out when we do Elohim. But here we have YHWH. That's Yah. Hey is a breath, ha, Yah, and then Hey, Wah, Yah, Hua. And you'll hear me pronouncing that hey in the center with a little more emphasis, Yahweh, Yahweh. It's 2 syllables really, Yah and Hua, and you blow the Hua, so that there's almost a little syllable in front of the second syllable. You might say 3 syllables, but some people, they get caught up in this. They don't quite understand, and they'll say Yahuwah. It's not a who, it's a breath. Yahuwah. You know, when I do words or names, we like to look for the root, which is usually a 3-letter word, but you'll see me doing this with 5 letters. Even here with the Father's name, YHWH, I can say, since the hey is on the end, as well as the second letter, you could kind of say, let's take Yod and Wa as the outside letters, and Hey as the center. The outside letters paint a general picture, and the letter in the middle gives the heart of the word. So here, you know, I would say Yod and Wa are painting the general picture. And He is the heart of the Father's name. So Yod is a picture of an arm and a hand. And it speaks of actions, what we do. In this case, what the Father does. And Wah is a picture of a tent peg. And what do you do with the tent peg? You secure a tent. You'll notice in my book about the Yodiot, titled Lashon HaKodesh Kadam, I talk about how important, this big picture that's being painted with all of the Odiot in the Father's Word is all about us building a tent, building our house with the Father, pitching a tent. So, here in the Father's name, the general picture being painted is like what He does, He pitches a tent. And the heart of the word is He, which picture of a man with his arms up in awe of something, worshiping the Father. In this case, I would say He represents the Ruach, the Father's Spirit. The Father is a spirit. He seeks those who worship in spirit. Here, I believe His name is saying that He's all about pitching a tent with His children. And that the heart of it, He does it through His Ruach. He does it in spirit. He's pitching His tent in spirit with you. That is the meaning I would give to Yahweh. The Father pitching His tent with His children in spirit. It's not a physical act. It's a spiritual act. Now let's turn to Yahshua. We have the first three letters are the same, but added to that is Shin and Ayin. So it's Yod, He, Wah, Shin, Ayin. It's a 10, 5, 6, 370, totaling 391. If you add 391 together, you get 13. And if you look at his Talmudim plus Mashiach, you add 13. Yod, He, Wah, Shin, Ayin. Now, we have 5 letters, so we can take the outside letters, and then we can take outside letters again, and then we can look at the heart. On the outside, we're looking at Yod and Ayin. Again, Yod is the arm and hand. It's all about action. What Yahshua does. And Ayin, it's about watching and knowing. So a general picture is being painted here that Yahshua, what He does, He watches and He knows the effects of what He does and the reactions from others to what He does. Then we go in again and we see He and Shin. He, we already mentioned, has to do with worship, spiritual worship, especially of the Father. And Shin, it's a picture of 2 front teeth, and it represents 2. In this case, I would say that Yahshua, He watches and He knows what He does and the effects it has on others and how they respond to it. And that all has to do with worshiping the Father in spirit, and 2, the Father and the Son. Him working in conjunction with the Father. And what's the heart? The heart of the word is the tent peg, Wah. It's all about pitching a tent. In spirit, with the Father and the Son, Shin, Tu. And through what? The actions and the watchfulness and the knowing of Mashiach. That paints the picture of Yahshua's name. Now, let's take a look at Elohim. Aleph, Lamed, He, Yod, Mem. Now here, take a look at these letters. Aleph, you can be pronounced A, E, and A. Lamed is pronounced L, the L. He is, the breath. Yod is pronounced E, and Mem is pronounced with an M. So, I mean, if you look at this, Aleph, Lamed, He, Yod, Mem. Al-Ha-im. Elohim. Now, when you see just L, E-L, or sometimes Eli, E-L-I, then it becomes an A. Not an E, not an A, but an A. It's El and Eli. But when it goes longer to Elohim, it's Elohim, not Elohim, Elohim. But when it's just E-L, then it's El, or E-L-I, Eli, Yahshua. I think it's Matthew 24. He cried out, Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani. My Father, lama sabachthani, why have you turned away? And he wasn't crying out and asking the Father why the Father turned away from him. He was quoting Psalm 22, which is a prophecy that opens with those lines, and he was quoting the prophecy in Psalm 22 of his crucifixion. Whenever you see the I on the end of the word, that's the letter Yod, and it's pronounced E, and it makes it personal. My. El is, you might say, mighty one is how it's usually interpreted. But really, it's the Aleph and the Lamed, which is the Father and his teachings. And then when you put the Yod in there, you're saying Eli, that's my Father and his teachings. It's always interpreted as mighty one. But more appropriately, it's the Aleph and the Lamed, El, and that means the headship and his teachings, the master and his teachings. And then when you put the Yod in there and you say Eli, that's my master and his teachings, my Father and his shepherding. Lamed is the shepherd's staff. And you'll see that, it has the hook on the bottom. They use that to guide the sheep. You could grab them by the neck if you wanted to. Aleph, Lamed. You may have heard me mention my Ammi. Aim in Aramaic Hebrew means mother. Ami, my mother. So anyway, here we have Elohim. Aleph, Lamed, He, Yod, Mem. Aleph. Abba, headship, Father. Then let's take the outside letters. We've got 5 letters here again. Aleph and Mem are the outside letters. So Mem is represents water, blood, and water you could say is the Word. Blood you could say is Yeshua. Yahshua is the Word. So we're looking at the Father and the Son framing this word. Then we move in again. We have lamed and yod. Lamed is the Father's teachings, and yod is the actions of those teachings. The Father's teachings being enacted by the Father and the Son. And then the heart of the word, once again, is hey. Worship, spiritual worship of the Father's teachings. The actions of learning and doing the Father's teachings. So again, we go from the outside in. We'd say the Father and the Son are enacting the Father's Torah, His loving instructions, in spirit. And the heart of the Word, once again, is the Ruach. You know why? The heart there, the Ruach dwells in us. And that is how the Father truly imparts His teachings and enacts them in us spiritually. He's spirit, looking for those who worship Him in spirit. And this is all done by the Father and His Son. And, you know, His indwelling Ruach. Isn't it beautiful? And, you know, again, pay attention. When we do these word studies, you could pretty much, at some point, it's not difficult to start reading Aramaic Hebrew. Once you get familiar with the letters and each of their pronunciations, you'll very readily be able to look at like Aleph, Lamed, Hey, Yod, Mem, and you'd say Elohim. You'd know. You'd be able to read it. And when you get my book, here's the link. Lashon HaKodesh Kadam. All the letters are there in the ancient pictograph. There's a chart in the back with modern Hebrew, so you can match them up. When you see modern Hebrew and you go, you know, which letter is that? You can match them up and then transfer it to the ancient pictograph, because we want to go back to the beginning and use what the Father gave in the beginning, and also get used to these pictures that are painted by His Odiot. And that sums it up. I hope this video has been a beracha to you, my friend. Shalom.
Who do you say the Son of Man is? Some say John the Baptist, others say Elijah, still others Jeremiah, or one of the prophets. But I pose the question today now, who do you say